Okay, a major summer ahead for Celtic. Loads of players are going to be leaving the club. Loads of players are going to come in. It's going to be quite exciting. We're hoping that with a new chief executive coming in, a new manager, hopefully a few season tickets shifted despite the circumstances, we'll have a wee bit of money to spend. We'll be splashing out millions every second day, bringing in players of quality to help us get back to our rightful place as the finest team in Scotland. But just in case we're not going to spend the money this season, I thought it was important to put a contingency plan into place. I don't know if the head recruiters at Celtic watch my videos. I would assume not, but just in case they are watching this, I'm going to give you 7 realistic free agents who Celtic could sign this summer. Yes, these are players who will cost the club around about the same as it is costing you to watch this video right now, and that is £0, by the way. But the key emphasis as we move on to this list is on realistic signings. Let's go, and just keep that in your mind. Right, hear me out with this. No, I'm only joking. Right, I'm going to stop messing around now and give you genuine suggestions for players Celtic could sign for nothing in the summer. Starting with a goalkeeper, because let's face it, we probably need a goalkeeper. Time will tell how the rest of this season plays out, but right now I'd say we should be in the market for one. Why not have a look at Thomas Vaklitch, who is a keeper, plays for Sevilla, plays for Czech Republic. I say plays, that's a loose term. He's not been playing very much lately. He's had injury problems over the last couple of years. Knee problem basically for about the last 10 months or so. He's not played a hell of a lot of football. But prior to that, he was one of the best goalkeepers in La Liga, which is a pretty good league with some pretty good goalkeepers. Why would Celtic sign an injury-prone goalkeeper? Well, that's probably a big question. And to be honest, I'm having doubts about that myself. But he does have good pedigree. If he was to prove himself to be fit, it's unlikely that he'd be Sevilla's number one because they're playing so well at the moment. It may be one to look at. Obviously, he's out of contract in the summer, so we wouldn't have to pay any transfer fee for him. He was a regular for Sevilla for years, one of the best keepers in Spain, but then he dropped out after picking up a knee injury during their kind of European run last year. Goalkeeper by the wonderful name of Bono replaced him. He hasn't really looked back since. It's been a beautiful day for Sevilla when he came to the club. They really found what they were looking for, and that's just about as many U2 references as I know. So let's move on. Okay, it's hardly the most exciting of signings. He's 31 years old now. If we were to sign Barry Bannon on a free contract, whatever they call it, I don't think Celtic fans would be lining the streets of the Celtic way to welcome him into paradise. Even in a non-COVID world, I don't think that would happen. But hear me out. He is available for free as it stands at the time of recording, although that could change. He's a big Celtic fan. He was in Barcelona a few years ago when I was there, saw him firsthand, so you can take my word for it. He is a Celtic fan. He's a tidy midfielder. He probably wouldn't be a starter for us, but when we seem to be losing a few midfielders in January and also in the summer, it might be nice to have a bit of backup around there, a bit of competent backup, experienced. He would know the club. He would know what to expect. He's a decent player. He's a regular for Sheffield Wednesday. He may sign a new deal with them, though, which could end any hopes of getting him for free. Bit of a blast from the past here. Ryan Gauld, former Dundee United player, made his name at Tannadice under friend of 67 Hail Hail, part of 67 Hail Hail, Jackie McNamara. So Jackie will know much more than me about him. His career did seem like it had kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit. Last time we saw him in Scotland, you may not even recall this, he had a loan spell at Hibs a couple of years ago. Didn't really work out for him at all. But since going back to Portugal, he's playing for a team called Firenze at the moment. He helped them to promotion to the top flight last year, played really well for them, and he's kicked on a level further this season. He's actually had as many Man of the Match awards in the Portuguese top flight as anyone else. I think a player from Sporting Lisbon is the only one who's had the same amount, which I think is 4. So Ryan Gauld, people kind of think he's an outside shout to get into the Scotland squad for Euro 2020. I think it's probably still a tall order as Scotland are so strong in that midfield. But the key thing to do with this video is that he's available for nothing in the summer. He's going to have a lot of suitors, mainly in Portugal, but probably a few teams in Britain as well, given how he's playing. Braga were linked with him last week. They're chasing the Portuguese title. So that's the kind of calibre of team that are linked with Ryan Gauld. You could argue with Tom Rogic leaving the club, Ryan Christie probably as well. We may be in the need or on the lookout for an attacking midfielder, even though we do have David Turnbull and Ewan Henderson there. Again, if Ryan Gould's available for free, he knows the country. He's clearly a talented player. He's a bit older than he was before. I suppose everyone is, but he's still probably not even in his peak years yet. He's still got a lot to give. This is one I would give serious consideration to. And talking about serious consideration, I'm going to go out on a massive, massive limb, and that may be a joke in bad taste given the injury troubles this guy has had. I'm going to say that we're going to sign James McCarthy this summer. I've just got a wee feeling. He's the only player in this list that we've genuinely been linked with in recent times, or in the last few months anyway. The Daily Mail reported that we were in for him, along with Premier League clubs like West Ham, like Burnley, like Brighton, teams like that. So he's still a pretty well-known name in English football, James McCarthy. He has played for clubs like Everton and Crystal Palace, where he currently plays. Real injury problems as well over the last few years. Basically for the last 3 years, ever since he had a really bad injury for Everton a few years ago. I want to say it was a leg break, but it was something pretty severe anyway. He's just had injury after injury since then, culminating in a couple of weeks ago going off for Crystal Palace with a groin injury at half-time in one of their Premier League games. So again, just similar to the goalkeeper earlier, it would be a big risk to buy a player who probably command decent wages and hasn't exactly proven himself to be reliable over the last few years. But I just get the impression this is the kind of signing Celtic might like to do and might look to do, and the kind of player that might fancy a go in Scotland with the biggest club in Scotland. So yeah, I've got a feeling this one might happen. Just keep a lookout for this one. Okay, current captain of Bournemouth. He's 30 years old. He's a regular for them. Centre-back, pretty solid centre-back for a team who are trying to chase the Premier League. I feel like there's another kind of link between Celtic and Bournemouth lately. Paper talk. Can't quite put my finger on it. But I don't know. I've got a feeling this one might be a certain man's first signing if he was to come to the club. Fingers crossed for it. He would certainly make a lot of sense to make a signing like this. So yeah, just keep an eye on Steve Cook if the main man Eddie Howe is made Celtic manager, and I'm still holding out hope for that. This one is probably stretching the realistic tag more than any other one. Folarin Balogun, if I'm saying that correctly, currently plays for Arsenal, though probably not for too much longer. He is a young striker who's actually scored 2 goals for the Gunners this season. I think they both arrived in the Europa League, which is not a bad level considering we barely scored 2 goals in Europe this season and certainly conceded a few more than that. But he has fired the goals in for the Arsenal under-18s team in the Premier League too. I think he has about a goal in every 2 games, 19 and 39, something like that. So he's highly rated. He wants more opportunities at Arsenal, but it doesn't look like he's going to get it with the firepower they have up top. He isn't going to sign a new contract. He's going to leave Arsenal for nothing in the summer. Teams in England, Italy, and of course Germany, who seem to want so many players from England at the moment, have been linked. I think we'll probably be quite far down the queue in terms of teams that would be linked as attractive propositions because we play in Scotland. But the reason I'm including this in the video is that he does fit into that model of signings we've made over the last few years. Think back to Jeremy Frimpong, came from Man City. Think back to Leo Connor, who came from Man United, and even Jonathan Afolabi from Southampton. Balogun is probably, definitely much more known than any of those 3 were, so it's probably slightly unrealistic this, but I would be surprised if Celtic didn't have some sort of an eye on him, and he's certainly a massive, massive talent. Have a word, Kieran, eh? The other player we've been linked with, albeit a way back at the start of the season, I think in July, the Daily Mail linked us with a move for Diane Lubach, who's a 23-year-old defensive midfielder who plays for Rapid Vienna. He's already got himself into the hearts and minds of the Celtic support by scoring the goal that knocked Rangers out of Europe a couple of years ago. Let's just do the full deal and get him to come to Celtic Park. He's already used to playing in green and white shirts, so that would suit. And Rapid kind of owes a favour after the last guy that we signed from them. He is available for free in the summer. He's already an Austria full international. I think he's the kind of player we could bring in as a Scott Brown replacement if Scott Brown is going to hang up his boots or certainly leave the club in the summer. I know that we've got Ismaila Soro there, but I think it would be good to have another defensive midfielder in there. Diane Lubach, certainly, for me, is the kind of player Celtic should be looking to sign. He's from the kind of club we should be looking to sign, balling goalie jokes to the side. And yeah, I would like to see us moving for this kind of player. I just hope Celtic are still scouring around Europe. There seems to be a real reliance in recent transfer windows of just looking south at England. I'd like us to broaden our horizons a little bit, like we were doing 10 years ago when we brought in the likes of Wanyama and Virgil van Dijk and players like that. I know that Dominic Mackay will have a lot to do when he comes into the club, but this certainly is one of the key things. And I think Lubach is, as I say, the kind of player we should be looking to move for. There you go, that's 7 kind of realistic players that I hope Celtic sign this summer. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done it yet. Remember to tell your pals about us. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think of the video, and we'll speak to you very soon.